In this video, I'm going to show how to replace the bellows boot on this Lexus IS. These are located on your inner tie rod behind your front wheel, and it is recommended to get in alignment after replacing these. Let's get started. With the vehicle safely raised and supported, use a 21mm socket and remove all 5 lug nuts and then pull the wheel off. Just as a tip, if your vehicle has locking lug nuts and the special key for it, don't use an impact on it. Break it free by hand with a breaker bar, then finish removing it because the teeth on those little sockets can break. And remove your wheel. Use a 19mm wrench and break free the jam nut that holds the outer tie rod and the inner tie rod locked in together. All right. You might need to use a rubber mallet on the other end of this. Sometimes that's necessary, but as long as this breaks free, we can leave it just like this and move along. Let's remove the cotter pin that is on the outer tie rod. And to do this, you might need a pocket screwdriver to help you pry the hook out, slide it off, use a 17mm socket and remove that mounting nut. Oh, looks like for me, the tie rod stud popped out, which is great actually. Sometimes they don't and they get stuck in here. Now because this is an aluminum knuckle, I would not want to hit it with a metal hammer. You could try to tap it with a rubber mallet or dead blow hammer right here. Most likely what you'll end up doing is having to use a tie rod stud or ball joint stud remover tool. What that looks like is it clamps on to this part of the knuckle, has a bolt that threads down, and it'll pop the tie rod out. Once again for me, well, this has already happened, so I'm going to remove it. Now when removing the outer tie rod, count the amount of turns it takes to remove it so that you can put it back the same amount of turns. That'll get you close to what you had for an alignment. Not spot on, which is why you still need to go get one. 12 turns for me. It's going to be different for you, but make sure you remember that number. Remove the jam nut off the inner tie rod. If you have to hold the inner tie rod, use some locking pliers or a 14mm wrench right here. Now with some needle nose pliers, let's remove this clamp that is on the inner tie rod bellows boot so we can release it. Inspect it. A lot of times these are reusable. This one is. It's not in too bad of shape, but if they are rusted or they don't seem like they have spring tension anymore, then replace it. All the way on the other side of the bellows boot, you'll see a clamp. Typically, it's going to be a metal clamp unless someone's already replaced it. What you want to do is, well, you could take this off a couple different ways. You could try to pry that tab out and unhook it, or you could punch it with a pry bar and a hammer. Whatever gets this off of here, regardless of how you take it off, this is a single time use clamp, so you're not going to be able to reuse it anyway. So I'm going to just go for the pry bar method and punch it off of there. Well, it didn't break, but it's off of the bellows boot, so let's take this off. Now you want to just grab this, pull it away. Okay, so that's off of the power steering rack. Now over here, a lot of times it gets stuck, so just pull on it until it pops out. There we go. There's your bellows boot. Now let's get the bellows boot installed. Slide it over the tie rod and onto the steering rack. Just guide it on to make sure that it's actually going to line up and snap into place. There we go. You'll feel it lock in when it actually seats. Then push the rest of it into position over here. Now for securing the inner part, you can use the provided wire tie. I like to start it out here. Give it one click so it doesn't open up, and then just bring it in all the way, making sure that it's sitting in the groove of the bellows boot, not past it. And tighten it up. If you have some long needle nose pliers, you can use those to pinch the end of the wire tie, twist it, and that'll help tighten it up. All right, that's pretty snug right there, so I'm going to cut the excess off with some cutters. Bring in the outer clamp, line it up, and put it back on. And like I said earlier, if this is weak, replace it, or you could use another wire tie just like you did on the other end. Coat these threads in anti-seize. That's going to prevent both the jam nut and the outer tie rod from seizing on in the future. It's also going to help the alignment professional, not just now, but also in the long run. If you ever need to get an alignment again, it won't be as difficult to spin these. Now put the jam nut on and thread it in all the way. This is also going to work that anti-seize into the threads, but also coat the nut. Start on the outer tie rod and thread it back the same amount of turns it took to remove it. That's 12 turns for me. And now bring the jam nut closer. Now bring the knuckle over, put the tie rod stud back through it, and install the mounting nut. Snug it up. Torque this to 48 foot-pounds. This is not a castle nut. If your tie rod for some reason has a castle nut, continue tightening until the next slot lines up if it doesn't already, so you can put that cotter pin through. But in my case, I don't have to worry about it. Stick a new cotter pin through, and this one's the type that we have to bend over to lock in, so do exactly that. This new jam nut is a 22 millimeter in size. Snug up the jam nut. All right, and then bring it back so the outer tie rod is even with the knuckle, not at a severe angle. Let's get the wheel back on. Start on all 5 lug nuts. We'll bottom them out in a cross pattern, and also in a cross pattern, we'll torque all of them to 76 foot-pounds. If your vehicle has the locking lug nuts with the key, be very, very careful with these. I don't recommend using a power tool on them. I'm going to use one just to slowly bottom it out, but I'm not going to impact through this adapter because the teeth on the backside can very easily break. Once again, 76 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Double check them all. Remove your tool if you had one of these here. There you have it. Take it for a road test, and don't forget to get in alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.